There are things that we can do in our life and implement in our life that really help make us feel on the outside with what's going on the inside, right?
Hey friends, this is the Next Level Glam podcast, and I'm Glam Gal. Thank you for joining me as I discuss all things transformation inside and out with my sisters in Christ. Pull up a chair, it's about to go next level.
I hope whatever time that you're listening to this little episode that you are filled with peace and joy. So today is just a little bit more free form for me. I'm not really going by my show notes. Usually when I'm talking on episodes that are more Christ-centered, I really try to stick with my notes just because I always want to make sure that I am totally aligned with what the word says. I never want to mislead anybody when it comes to issues of the faith, and God knows we're going to make mistakes along the way, but I try my very best to stand in the truth and not deviate from that. And I take that very seriously. So when we do episodes like today, where it's a little bit more based on my experience and things like that, I have a little bit more room to let my personality come through a little bit. I'm going to apologize ahead of time if you hear snoring in the background. That's my buddy Sal, who's laying behind me. He's kind of attached at the hip. He's and a loud snorer. But I know I mentioned in the episode of How Did I Get Here, I shared a little piece of my journey as far as how I became a cheerleader in self-care. And, it's very fitting that I have to do this episode today because I have a situation in my life that, God is working on kind of a transition, if you will, from one kind of a life to another. And I'm kind of stuck merging into the other lane, doing that whole transition and just trusting in his timing and going along trying to find that path. But right now I'm a barber at a very fast-paced salon, and I call it the weekend grind. I'm sure I'm not the one who came up with that. That's something that's been going around, but that's something that I use in my head when it's my weekend to work. And it takes a lot of prep and mindset to get through those really, really hard weekends. And I'll probably share a little bit more on that situation as time goes on, but these are very short episodes, and I just kind of want to get to the point today of how I transitioned back into me mode. Basically, the situation in my life, it demands a lot from me. My work weekends are fully focused on surviving the grind, and as much as I'm always striving to push myself for more when I'm outside of work, after work, to take care of myself, sometimes I just don't have the energy. So come Monday morning, when real life is calling, mom, teacher, housewife, it's also myself that I have to get back on online, and it can be kind of a challenge. I can kind of feel like under the weight of it all and almost too tired to do things that are going to bring me life. There are just times where you realize as a mom and, I work and, you take care of the house that you put yourself on the back burner a lot, and all these little self-care things that we like to do, whether it's dyeing our hair, brushing our hair, shaving our legs. It can feel like a full-time job, right? And I'm all about incorporating new things that really go the extra mile, that make me feel like I am a glowing goddess, right? There are things that we can do in our life and implement in our life that really help make us feel on the outside with what's going on the inside. This is something I also had to learn once I became a new mom. When you become a new mom, you almost realize kind of what you took for granted with how much free time that you have. And also without the guilt, right? Because even if you have the time as a parent, sometimes you feel like you don't have the time or you shouldn't spend the time fully investing in yourself. And there's a fine line, and everybody is so different. But I will tell you that I learned very quickly that if I didn't make time for myself as a new mom, the way that I would feel about myself, and it wouldn't be overnight that I would get bogged down. It would just be weeks on end that you would eventually realize, when's the last time that I shaved my legs? When's the last time that I scrubbed my body? When's the last time that, I did a, 5 to 10 step skincare and just loved myself. But I do know that when I became a mom, it was critical for me to realize that I needed to put myself first and fill my cup. So I couldn't be having this whole inner dialogue as the day went on about how I wished I had more time and how I wished I could look nice, or, catching a glimpse of someone's beautiful family selfie and just looking around and just seeing myself as a total crust. even though it was no different with my weekend grind this weekend, the difference is my daughter actually is on vacation and she'll be gone for a handful more days. And I don't really get a lot of time by myself. And so I kind of tried to get it all in every other day. So, this week it was really showing me that you have all this time and what to do with it, right? Because I don't usually get all that time to myself. So this week has really been kind of nice to reset for myself, relay down the foundation of the things I'd like to achieve. But also in between there, it's not just about eating and working out and those things. It's about the little things in between that really make you feel special. So yesterday I was in a really just gross place. I had like what I like to call a hangover or leftover vibe from the weekend of just survival mode. I was spending time in the word. I was spending time with the Lord, and he knows our hearts. He knows how we feel about ourselves, and he doesn't want us to feel that way about ourselves. And the more that I learn about him, the more that I hear his voice and his little pushes that he does when I feel like I'm alone and that I'm stuck in this place, and I'll hear, go wash your face, right? Like go jump in the tub. I shared this meme on my Instagram about the everything shower, like how transformative it is. And I was asking people what they do during that time that really takes them the extra mile. And I'm going to kind of talk about that a little bit today, except for me, it's the everything bath. It doesn't matter if you're a shower person or a bath person, the concept is the same. But personally, for me, this is like something that I do that really helps me get out of a funk when I feel like a Bergen, a troll, a goblin. So the everything bath really is one of those things where you jump in a hot bubble bath and you just go and do the most. Like we have music going, we've got the bubbles bubbling, we have the products that help encourage great results. And I always find it interesting that I get to this point between winter and spring where I realize a lot of my self-care habits are changing. Kind of unlocks a door of self-care because in wintertime, sometimes you just want to jump out of the tub and get in your jammies. When it's warm, we want to kind of like defrost and start doing the things that we forgot that we do in the winter. One of those things that really change is the everything bath. And the last handful of weeks, I've realized how much I've missed taking these baths and then getting out and not skipping on the treatments, like moisturizing your body head to toe. I was talking to my sister, and one of those things is exfoliation, like body scrubs. I really feel like the one thing that I do on top of the normal shaving your legs, the moisturizing to have super, super soft skin is the exfoliation part. I love a nice body scrub. We shed our skin, the dead skin cells, and if we're not exfoliating our skin, a lot of times that dead skin can fall into open pores and it can create acne and all kinds of things like that. So it's one of those things that's like so many different reasons why you should implement that into your routine while you're sitting in that everything shower, everything bath, because it truly makes the skin super soft. And then we're going to moisturize that nice, fresh skin and not the leftover stuff that's hanging around that needs to be scrubbed off. I love doing body scrubs, 2 to 3 times a week at minimum. And I just don't think that people realize that body scrubs really should be more mandatory and not like extra. And learning about these things really helps increase our understanding about why we do the things that we do. A lot of people think it's just to smell pretty, but really it's to encourage great skin health and provide an area to feel good about ourselves in the mental space as well. But I also like having a separate foot scrub for my feet, obviously, right? Because our calluses and things like that are a little bit tougher skin. I love having one specifically for my feet, and doing that maintains soft feet year round. A lot of people like to wait for those, quarterly pedicures where they have to grab out the sandblaster to get your feet looking right. And implementing a nice foot scrub while you're already in the tub is not only going to save you money, but it's going to just make you feel better when sandal season pops up and you haven't had that pedicure and your feet are already looking right. So take that one from me. I'm telling you that the best course of action for me is to make the most out of that time in the everything bubble bath, because it just leads to so many other little actions while you're sitting there. You're sitting there and you're like, you know what? This clay mask has been sitting here forever. Let's throw that on. That's 15 minutes. What can I do in 15 minutes while I wait? Let's shave the legs. It really is something that I put into my routine that helps me maintain a good feeling about myself. It's just absolutely incredible what can happen in a day or two when you're not putting yourself as a priority. You know, it's like self-care is the gasoline that makes the car go, just like coffee and just like other things that bring us joy. Self-care is very much the same way. If you're somebody who's more simple, that's awesome. You know what I mean? Like simplicity goes a long way, but I'm one of those people where like if a little is good, a lot is better. So I'm just always looking for ways to level up my self-care routine. When we love ourselves, it speaks to other people. My husband himself, he's a pretty simple guy. And I know he married somebody who's rather high maintenance, and he doesn't have any demand on me whatsoever to maintain some kind of outward thing to, keep him interested. But I know that the way that I look affects me and how I feel about myself. And that directly affects like my relationship, my marriage, right? So I really try to make it a priority to make sure that I'm feeling good, and doing these everything baths or showers are pretty much key for me feeling like a goddess. And that's just like one little excerpt of self-care that you can do for yourself. If you're sitting there and you're feeling bogged down and just maybe not even feeling pretty, I highly encourage you to go run yourself a nice hot bubble bath and just sit there with your thoughts for a minute. And you can't tell me that they don't make a difference. I mean, after so many years, my husband knows if I'm looking or feeling a certain way and I can't even like get out of a funk, he'll be like, "How about I run you a really nice hot bubble bath?" And sometimes that is literally love, right? He knows that I emerge a completely different person than I did when I went into the bathtub. I'm sure he obviously sees the outcome then when I'm feeling good in my own skin, and how that can translate into our relationship too. So, is it a complete revival experience? Let's just put it that way. There is absolutely no shame in loving the temple that God gave us. We're to be good stewards of it. And it might seem frivolous or superfluous, but I really do think it's essential to honor who we really are. At the end of the day, God can use whoever, doesn't matter who they are, what they look like, to speak his word and to reach out to people. But I will say that being somebody who smells good and feels confident in who they are can really help get the message across too. Like we want people to take us seriously and not be like, that lady was really nice, but she smelled like body odor. Now, if you're looking for awesome products that I firmly believe in to take your self-care game to the next level, please join me on my Instagram. Again, the handle is at the Next Level Glam Podcast. Drop into my DMs. I would love to have a chat with you, whether it's, bubble bath, skincare, makeup, you name it. I would love to have a dialogue with you. And I'd also like to know if you could go and answer on the meme what you do during your everything shower or bath or your self-care time that really helps you make it the most, so that the listeners here can, pick up a few tips. Maybe they're not doing something right now that they could quickly add to their routine that will just lift their spirits, because that's really what it's all about. I want to thank you today for joining me here on the Next Level Glam podcast. I know it's a very chill, laid back episode, just me cheerleading you to take care of yourself. And you're wondering when the last time was that you got to take a nice bubble bath or wash your hair or even shaved your legs, or, dusted off that old body scrub that you always tell yourself that you'll use, but you just whipping through your shower routine and never pushing yourself to expand and use some of these products that can really go a long way. I dare you, I challenge you today to take the extra few minutes and treat yourself like a queen. Be a good steward of the body that he's given you. There is absolutely no shame in loving the skin that you're in and how you feel in it, 110%. I'm looking forward to coming back next week where I drop an episode delving more into the realm of the transformation of the body with plastic surgery. And until then, guys, get in that hot bubble bath, scrub that body, and grow in his grace.